Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to continue looking at these inequalities, how to solve them, graph them, and then write them in interval notation. Let's start with number 5. So the first thing we want to do is get all the variables, so anything with a p, onto the left side of the inequality, and anything that has a number or a constant to the right side of the inequality. First, I need to distribute this 2 over here into the parentheses. Okay, that's my first step. Remember PEMDAS. Order of operations is parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So I'm going to do these parentheses first. -2 times 4 is -8, and -2 times -2 is +4, and then don't forget the p. 12p plus 52 on this side. So now I'm going to get rid of this 4p by subtracting 4p. Those will cancel. 12p minus 4p is going to be 8p plus 52 is greater than -8. I'm going to get rid of this 52 by subtracting 52 from both sides. Those will cancel. I'm left with 8p is greater than -60. Okay, I'm almost there. The last thing I need to get rid of is this -8. This 8p, this 8 that's multiplied by the p. So I will divide by 8 both sides. Those will cancel, and I'm left with p is greater than -60 divided by 8. Let's see, does that go evenly? No. But we can divide both the numerator and denominator by 2, and we're going to be left with 30 over 4. And then we can do that one more time, and that's going to equal 15 over 2. And then remember yesterday we saw an example where we worked with the fraction, so we shouldn't be afraid. We're going to write 15 over 2. I know that 16 over 2 is going to equal 8. So that's 16 over 2. That'll be 17 over 2. 14 over 2 is going to equal 7. And then below that will be 13 over 2. Now I look at this inequality, and it's only greater than. So I'm going to use an open circle. And it's saying that, this one, p is greater than 15 over 2. So I'm going to shade the right side of the graph, of the line, and draw my arrow. That's the graph. And remember, the interval notation that we learned yesterday, you can think of that as the start and the stop of the number line. So we're going to start right here, but where does it end? Okay, it doesn't. The arrow indicates that it's going to keep going forever and ever and ever all the way to infinity. So our interval notation is going to be 15 over 2, comma, infinity. And it does not include the number, so open circle, which means we use parentheses here. And then the infinity sign, we can never reach that, so we use parentheses always for infinity. And that's how we, number 1, solve, number 2, graph, and number 3, write in interval notation. Okay. If you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. I will be in class today. I'm just going to be doing some setup on my computer. Let's take a look at number 6. Leave that on the screen so you can see both.
Here's something I found on the web. According to fandom.com.
Okay, so remember, the first thing we need to do is solve. Solve, do we need to do anything inside the parentheses? Kind of. We have this negative sign that we need to distribute. So we're going to write 3 equals negative 4m minus 1, greater than or equal to 5m minus 25. Now we're going to combine our like terms, or get all the terms with m on the left side of the inequality and all the terms with constants on the right side of the inequality. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's start with the variable. I'm going to subtract 5m from both sides. That will cancel. And I'm going to be left with 3 minus 9m minus 1 greater than or equal to negative 25. I can do one step here. I'm going to do 3 minus 1, which is 2. And I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. That'll cancel both of those out. 9m greater than or equal to negative 27. Now all I have is this negative 9 multiplied by m. In order to get rid of that, I'm going to divide by negative 9, both sides. And remember, anytime I multiply or divide by a negative number, I have to switch the inequality symbol. Now that cancels, and I'm left with m is less than or equal to negative 27 divided by negative 9 is 3. Easy, right? Number 2, let's graph it. Or step 2, let's graph it. We're going to write 3, then bigger numbers to the right, smaller numbers to the left. We're talking about a less than and equal to, so we're going to include the number 3, which means we were going to use a closed circle on the graph. And we're saying that m must be smaller than 3, so we're going to shade the left side of the number line. Arrow. And our last step is number 3, the interval notation. So where do we start? We're starting, the line arrow here indicates that we're going to be going all the way to negative infinity. So that's our start, and our stop is, we stop at 3. So we're going to write negative infinity, comma 3. We do include the number and the closed dot, so we do a bracket there, and then we do a parentheses. So far, so good. Again, like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. I will be in class today. I'm just going to be doing some setup on my computer to try to set up a monitor, but I will be in class, and if you need help, please let me know. Let's take a look at the next 2 examples. I'm going to go a little bit faster on these. Here we need to distribute the 3 first. Remember, we're going to do what's parentheses first on both sides. So we have 24x minus 27 is greater than 24x plus 4. I'm going to subtract 24x from both sides. Those will cancel. Negative 27 is greater than . Oops, let's check this. Okay, so the last step we see is that we have negative 27 greater than 4, and we know that that's not true. Negative 27 is not greater than 4. So what we're going to have here is something called the no solution. Okay, sometimes that's going to be an answer. So put 0 with the line through it. That means no solution. Remember, for number 8, we need to distribute the 10 and the 9 to the what's inside of the parentheses. We're going to get 10a minus 30 minus 13a less than or equal to 9a minus 9 times 8 is 72. I think 72. Now remember, we're going to get all the variables on the right side of the inequality, and we're going to get all the constants on the right side of the inequality. So how can we do that? Let's subtract 9 from both sides. Actually, let's do this one first. Let's combine 10a and negative 13a. We'll combine like terms. That's going to give us negative 3a minus 30 is less than or equal to 9a minus 72. Now let's bring this 9a to the other side by subtracting 9a. Those cancel. Negative 12a minus 30 instead of negative 72. Add 30 to both sides. Those will cancel. And negative 72 plus 30 is going to equal negative 42. I'm going to get rid of this negative 12 that's multiplied by a by dividing by negative 12. Both sides. Those will cancel. Remember, when we multiply or divide by a negative number, then we have to switch the inequality symbol. A is greater than or equal to negative 42 divided by 12 gives us 3.5. Okay, so this is another way that we can do it. If we don't want to write with fractions, we can go ahead and do decimals. So we'll do 3.5. Maybe here we'll do 4, 5, 3, and 2. And A is greater than or equal to, so we're going to use a closed circle. And it says A is greater than 5, so we're going to shade in this side of the line and draw our arrow. And then remember, our interval notation is going to start at 3.5, and it's going to go all the way to infinity. Because we are including the number, we have the closed dot, we use a bracket here and a parenthesis there. Okay. Look at number 9. Remember, parentheses first, so we distribute that negative 7, and we're going to distribute this 3. 8 minus 14r minus 21 is less than or equal to 3r. 3 times 10 minus 30, negative 30. Combine like terms. Let's do 8 and negative 21. 8 minus 21 is going to be negative 13. So we have negative 14r minus 13 less than or equal to 3r minus 30. Let's bring this r to the left side by subtracting 3r. Negative 17r negative 30. Now we can bring this 13 to the other side. What do we have? Negative 30 plus 13 is going to equal negative 17. We're going to divide by a negative 17. Remember, we divide or multiply by negative numbers. We switch the inequality symbol. Those cancel, those cancel. And I'm going to be left with r greater than or equal to 1. Okay. Remember, any number divided by itself does not equal 0. any number divided by itself equals 1. So r is greater than or less than 1, so we're going to include the 1, which means we're going to use a closed dot. Greater than 1, let's write our 1, 2, 3, let's write 0 here, and then negative 1. We're going to shade this side of the number line. And that's our graph. For our interval notation, we're going to start at 1. We're going to go all the way to infinity. We do include 1. We have the closed dot here, so we draw a bracket and then parentheses on infinity. For number 10, we need to distribute. That's always the first step if we have parentheses and numbers outside the parentheses. Negative 6p, negative 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8p, and then negative 8 times positive 6 is negative 24. Combine like terms. Let's add an 8p to both sides, so those can cancel. Negative 6 plus 8 is 2p. Minus 24 is less than negative 24. Let's subtract, or let's add 24 to both sides. Those will cancel. 2p is less than 0. P is less than, well, let's do this. Okay, divide by 2, divide by 2. Those cancel, and P is going to be less than 0 divided by 2. So if you have nothing and you divide it by 2, you're still going to have nothing. So P is less than 0. Less than only, so we use an open circle. Less than is the shading the left side of the number line. In our interval notation, we're going to start at negative infinity and we're going to end at 0. So we're going to write negative infinity, 0. Do not include the 0. It's an open circle, so we use a parentheses. And we always use parentheses for negative infinity and positive infinity. Okay, let's take a look at the last two. These are the last ones we're going to do for today, and then we'll be done. 11x minus 4 less than or equal to 6x. I'm going to distribute this negative to the 3 and to the negative 5 that's inside here. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3, and the negative times a negative is a positive 5x. Let's combine these like terms, 5x and 6x. So we're going to have 11x minus 4 less than or equal to 11x minus 3. Now I can bring this to the other side by subtracting x. Those will cancel. Those also cancel. Then we're going to have negative 4 less than or equal to negative 3. Is that true? Yes. Negative 4 is less than or equal to 3, and there's no other variables or anything to do. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to say that this is going to be all real numbers. Okay, this funny looking R means all real numbers. So what we're going to do is shade the whole number line. Okay, and there's two ways that we can write this as a set, as an interval notation. We can write negative infinity to positive infinity, or we can also write all real numbers. Okay. Number 11 is kind of a special case that we're going to see. Okay, last one, guys, and then we're done for the day. This one's a little complicated. We have a fraction, but we also have decimals. Okay, so we're going to have to understand the order of operations is parentheses first, which means to take this 5 and distribute it to everything inside here. 5 times 2 is 10w minus 50 Then we'll divide by 2 less than w plus 7. I'm going to get rid of this 2 by multiplying everything. Multiply the whole thing by -2, which means I have to multiply everything over here by -2. Those cancel. I have 4 plus 10. Oops. Let's try this again. 4 plus 10w minus 50 less than, this is multiplied by -2, so I have to distribute this to inside of here. -2w minus 14. Now I can combine my like terms. Let's bring this w to the other side. Those will cancel. I'm going to kind of combine these two in one step. So I'll have 12w minus 46 less than -14. Now I can bring this 46 to the other side. And I have 12w is less than -14 plus 46 is -17. And you can't see on the screen, but I am using a calculator to do these, okay? So if you need to use a calculator for some of these adding and subtracting, it's okay. That's going to be 32, actually. Then we're going to, last step, divide by 12. Those cancel, and w is less than 32 divided by 12 is going to be 2.6. So I'm going to leave this as a fraction, but I am going to reduce it a little bit. So I can divide both sides by 2. (32 divided by 2 is 16 over 6. And can I reduce it anymore? Nope, I think that's it. So I'm going to write 16 over 6. Right here is 17 over 6. And then I know 18 over 6 is 3. Down here I'm going to write 15 over 6. No, yeah, 15 over 6 and 14 over 6. The inequality here is just less than. So I'm going to use an open circle. I'm saying w is less than 16 over 6. So I'm going to shade this side. Draw my arrow. And I'm going to go from -infinity to 16 over 6. I do not include the number, so I use parentheses. Okay. We're not going to worry about this set notation just yet. Okay, we're going to review that in another section. Okay, that's the notes for today, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know.